Welcome, fellow last placers, to another episode of LPF Debrief, where Chris and I talk about comic books, movies, TV shows, and anime. And I know you guys haven't seen us in a while, and I know you missed us, but we are here and we're ready to talk about the Eternals. But before we get into that, we're going to say the same things we always do, and that's make sure you like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and then we're going to shame Yendi for not watching the movie that he actually plans on watching and not being here for the debrief. So let's shame Yendi.
Shame.
Shame. So, like I said before, guys, make sure you like, subscribe. We're still doing that mouse giveaway, but we know what you're here for, and you guys are here to hear our thoughts on the Eternals, and it is the latest MCU movie. And Chris, there's a lot to take in, and just remember, everyone, there is spoilers ahead.
Yes. Spoilers
Take
ahead.
the floor, Chris.
I will take the floor. Starting off with spoilers ahead right after this. Cool. Critics, I have no idea what the hell you guys watched. I had no idea. I'm still trying to figure it out. Because
I will get into when it's my turn. I will get into the critics because I have some harsh words.
And also,
for some of these critics.
please watch the movie before listening to critics, man. I did see, like, as soon as I saw one bad comment, I tried to avoid them. But I can tell that it influences people because, like, people came out of the theater, or what the people I saw on Twitter, and they're like, man, the movie was dry, blah, blah, blah. It's not good. I was like, no, you're literally repeating what this other person said, man. Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why before you go, but one of the reasons why I don't watch trailers also because trailers also set in a. You guys have to remember, and I'm not saying this works for everyone or you have to do it, but what trailers do is trailers essentially are going to give you the most wow moments so that you can show up to the movie.
Mm.
So you're going to feel a certain way about a movie by watching a trailer because you're seeing what they're putting together to draw you into watching it. So you're going to set an expectation for yourself. And I know some people can get away with not doing that, but most people, especially a lot of people who don't watch movies a lot, tend to set an expectation for yourself. And then you go into the movie and realize that this is a movie with a large cast that needs to be talked about so that you can understand what's going on. So go ahead, Chris.
But overall, loved the movie. I thought it was great, well paced. With the team, I thought throughout the whole movie, I was thinking about Justice League and how they didn't have enough time. Like, it felt like they were rushing to explain everybody's story, right, when we first got them. And with this team, we got just enough of everybody. The way they did the flashbacks and everything like that was perfect because they were, going throughout history. And everything was well paced. And I felt like I learned enough about everybody where I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, I get it. I get what's going on, like why they separated, why they're here, all this other stuff. I got the necessary tools to understand where I'm at, why I'm with these guys, and then they can continue the story. Beautiful way to pace it. As soon as I saw it, I was just like, man, like,
This was before you continue. This was basically what Justice League should have been.
Yes,
This was
exactly.
like a Justice League that was, the thing is, it's when it gets to me, but the thing is, the characters are so similar also to the Justice League, so it had a very Justice League vibe.
Yes.
And just because watching it done the way that it was done, it was like, well, if you did a Justice League movie this way, where you paced out the story, and then the next one you could really, really work on what you're like the fights and stuff like this. But this was perfect because now, like you said, every character, what their goal was, what drove them, and this movie was what 2 hours and 40 minutes, no 30 minutes, 27 minutes. It was 2 hours and 27 minutes, I believe. So yeah, no, 2:37. So
Yeah.
that was, that's not too crazy in today's day and age, especially when you have a cast of, I mean, they essentially had to tell you what 8 people's stories and what made them tick, and being able to do that within that time instead of a 3 hours Snyder cut that still didn't give you enough information. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it was it was crazy, man. Like I said, it felt very well paced and well put together. I loved the movie. I thought it was really good. Is it my top Marvel film of the year? We'll talk about that later. But overall, I was very happy with it. I'm actually gonna go see it again with my wife, who I think is also gonna like it. A lot of questions were raised. I have a lot of questions, but
Like,
overall, dope. And
yeah.
also, I was actually very happy with the second credit scene. I I don't know why, but as soon as I saw the guy who's playing that character, I was like, you know what? Yes, this is good. I like this. So,
Yeah.
but what did you
Well,
think of the
the
movie?
first credit scene you're talking about.
Wait, was it the first credit scene? Oh yes,
Yes.
first credit scene. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
Second
first credit
credit
scene.
scene we'll get into.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I same thing. I enjoyed the movie. Again, I you know me. I don't watch trailers or any of that stuff, so I didn't have any like I just knew I was going to love the cast because the cast was fantastic. Every single person in this cast I love as an individual actor. So I knew coming together they were going to be great. So I thought the movie was well paced, like you said also, and a message for the critics. And I know why you guys said what you said, and you're wrong for saying that. You just don't like diversity. If you want to just admit to it, just admit to it. Because there's no reason why this movie should have had 50%. I understand that a lot of people, and especially a lot of people in the movie industry, like to have movies a certain way and then they complain about certain things, and I know what you're complaining about. You're upset that there was a gay character in there and there was a kissing scene with the gay character. Well, take your homophobia and don't watch this movie,
Mm.
okay? Because we are not here for that crap, for you hating on a movie because of that. It's just the movie was perfectly fine. It was paced perfectly in my opinion. I feel like everything, all the stories, like I said, all the characters, everyone was justified, right? So like everyone had a meaning, and you knew what that person's goal was. Like you knew what Thena was, you knew what Gilgamesh was, you knew what all these characters, what drove them and what continued to drive them, right? So I think people, critics wanted to say, well, oh, this movie wasn't good, it wasn't paced properly, and the underlining tones of of saying that it just doesn't make sense, especially when you have something like Rotten Tomato, for instance, where you have 50% of the critics who don't like it, but yet 86% of the audience loved it. So like that gap, you can't have that such a big disconnect with a movie. It just, I don't, what are we missing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like you're viewing the movie that much different than us. And I remember when I was younger, I used to always think, oh well, they know so much more about movies. They don't. Like they don't know more about movies than you. Movies are subjective, and not that doesn't mean like I won't say, "Oh, I think this movie is better," or "I think this movie wasn't." But like a movie is subjective. People are going to enjoy what they enjoy, and I feel like this is one of those movies that you can take everyone to go enjoy it because the characters are very in depth. Like even with this, what felt like a small time, like I said, all of their goals, we knew every single one of their goals and what they wanted to accomplish and how they wanted to accomplish it. We got like emotional story connections. We got we also got Marvel's first sex scene, which
Yeah, whenever I
wasn't
read
too.
about that, whenever I saw that, it popped up and
Yeah.
it was like sex scene, and I was just like, whenever I watched the movie, I was like, we really never had a moment like this at all. And
No,
I was like, what?
not that graphic.
No, well, yeah, not
And
that
I
great.
mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not and don't get me wrong, not that it was graphic.
Yeah,
It
we
was
weren't
just
seeing
the
cheeks or
most.
anything, you know.
Yeah, it was just the most you would have seen. Like it was very upfront with
Yeah.
what they were doing in Mar. So again, there was some incredible fight scenes. The fight scenes in this were so good, and this is where I will go on with my Justice League thing. So Makari, who is the speedster
Bro,
in this
I
movie,
already know where you're
okay?
going.
So she is everything. And I mean everything that I wanted Flash to be. Like everything. Because this is what I'm talking. She's super fast. Speed, listen, strength is great. But when you're super fast, you're able to do more things. And the fact that the Flash couldn't do, who Icarus is very similar to Superman, right? The fact that Flash that was written to a point where he just could not do anything to Superman made me upset. And this is why I liked, and also this also goes to show you don't have to do super fast
Yeah.
in slow motion all the time.
It felt
The
so
scene
natural. Like
when she
watching
was
it.
on the beach was
Yep.
amazing in real time. Like in speed time when she like even when she dodges that first beam and she just like hops over it, it wasn't in slow motion. It was literally just regular speed and it was perfect. So
Mm-hmm.
like stop doing like it's cool sometimes but it's so drawn out now. Like just do super speed in regular time. Like it's fine. It looks good. We won't get confused. We know she's fast and it gives us that hint of imaging that oh we can't see her and now we do.
Yeah.
So I think it's a nice little trick that you can do without having to do slow motion.
Yeah, the way I look at it with that is just like I said, it felt so natural. For Marvel films, it's like I could if I was they make me feel like if I stood out in the field and I watched it happen, I'd be like my eyes can like I can see it and be like holy crap, this is happening. Like okay. Whereas in
It's
Justice
happening.
League, yeah, in Justice League, it's just like okay, well, I know this is fake. Like I
Mhm.
see the comicness of this
Yeah.
and whatever. But yeah, the beach scene whenever that camera pulls in behind her and she's running,
Mm.
and it's just
Yeah.
like a quick thing, like oh, I can see, I know she's
Mhm.
fast. I just saw her, great, and then we keep moving. It's like you don't need to
Yeah.
see like yeah, this is still the same person
Yeah,
running
like I'm
through this
super
thing.
it's just we've seen it so much and it's not that you can't switch it up. Like you
Yeah.
can go to a fast and then change it up. I think X-Men did a really good job with
Oh,
this with Quicksilver.
Quicksilver, yeah.
Like when he's
You're right. Yeah,
saving
yeah.
the when he's saving everyone in the and this is an Apocalypse, the only one that I actually liked. But no, I mean the only scene that I actually liked from that when he's saving everyone from the building. Remember he was doing some scenes fast and then he went slow.
And they use
Like
the
you
slow
can do it
motion for
like
the
that.
comedy, for like a comedy
Exactly.
lift there, and that's what I liked. It was
Mhm.
just like, oh, let's make it funny, and then
Yeah.
right back into it, and it's like, okay, cool.
So I do enjoy the way they shot a lot of their action scenes. Athena was all of her fight scenes were just amazing. Gilgamesh was also just amazing.
One
He
of
was
my
my favorite.
favorite. Yeah, I was about to say that.
I mean that their whole relationship for me was amazing, and especially when he was just like, "I would save you." Like he was like, "I would take care of you no matter what universe," because just having that and like just having that kind of it it represents their name too, right? Like Eternals, so like just wanting to be internally with someone. It just there was a lot of symbolism in this movie, also just having just the way that it is. So I don't understand again what people are also saying, oh, like, oh, this is like a different type of Marvel movie. It is different, but like it still hit the home of what all MCU movies do, right? You get good action scenes, you get great comedy, like unexpected comedy. No matter how serious we think the movie is, we still get a bunch of little funny moments because we got Karun, who the director was just fantastic in this movie, and all of his notes hit home. The guy who was
What?
directing and he had the cameras
Oh yes, yes,
when he
yes,
had
yes.
the yeah,
Crew. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He had
Humble
all of
guy.
the like so good.
We gotta
He
do.
was
We
so
gotta
good.
do a Marvel. We have to do a video of like Marvel sidekick like award or something because
Yeah.
they hit home, man. You
No.
remember them so well.
Hmm.
In my notes, I was gonna go from. So I was writing notes in the theater. Phone was low. Nobody's by me. Don't worry about it. I was a good person.
He was being that
No,
guy.
I was not being that guy.
He's that guy.
Love the explanation of why they didn't help
Yeah.
with Thanos. I thought it was
Hmm.
really cool, and they go in depth of explaining like how it's not that they didn't want to; they really wanted to.
Yeah.
It's just that they were told like
Hmm.
this they have to advance. And
Yeah.
when they explained that, I was like, that makes so much sense, especially seeing Fastos,
Yeah.
right? Fastos or
Yeah.
Fastos? Yeah,
Festos.
Fastos.
Festos.
Whenever you see him like building the engine and he's like, oh, it's an engine, like he's getting all excited and how frustrated he is that he's like, I can't just go and give these people this. They have to figure it out themselves. And I'm like, man, this is crazy how
Yeah.
they're putting it together and how they have to watch humanity basically build itself.
Mhm.
I
Well,
thought
they're
that was really
also
cool.
yeah, because remember their whole goal was to make sure the Celestial actually gets born. So
Yeah.
if for the like if well, if you guys we're assuming you've already watched it, you guys know that that the person, the celestial gets born within the planet that they go to and then they grow and obviously blow up the planet. So so their goal was to we can't advance it too quickly anyway so that people can overpopulate. And which is another thing that I thought was amazing is the fact that when they brought the Thanos thing back because the fact that Thanos snapped half the people away, it prolonged what the
Yeah,
what
they
was the
she
name?
said
Gosh, I keep forgetting it. I just had it on
the
the
it
tip of
starts
my
with an
tongue.
E.
The I don't remember. It starts with the E. I'll get it soon.
While you're
But
talking,
yeah,
I'll look it up. Yeah.
yeah. So while they're doing that, while that's happening, the fact that half the universe was gone affected this. So it was cool when Ajax, who's Salma Hayek's character, is explaining like watching humans and watching humans and superhumans actually come back from that made everything like made Earth special because one of the conversations that she was going to have with their god was essentially, hey, like these people are special. I don't think we should blow this world up. And just her trying to explain that and them actually falling in love with with the human race and the way that they grew and the way that everything happened, it was so cool to hear them say, "Hey, like this thing could have been stopped, but it wasn't." So, but Thanos kind of played a role in this, and now we're back, and now we're stopping it. So it was really cool.
Yeah, man, I can't find what the heck it was called. That's crazy.
All right, it'll come to me. I guarantee you by the end of the show. hmm
But
So
going back into my notes, loved seeing my boy Jon Snow. Okay, when I did see him, I was like, you know what? I've been wanting this man in the Marvel universe, but at the time, I'm not a bit. So as always, if you are new to the channel, Alan is the big comic guy. He knows the history and everything like that. I'm still learning. I don't read as many comic books as I should. I mean, like you don't have to read comic books, but I want to know more. Um, but when I saw him, I was just like, man, that sucks that he's in this movie as like a side character, like he's just the boyfriend. And I
yeah.
was like, ah, great. And then the end of the movie comes up and he's like, hey, I have a secret to tell you. And I was like,
Mhm.
man, I knew it. Like I knew they didn't put this man in here for a side character. Come
Well,
on
they
now.
they they definitely foreshadowed it with the
Yeah.
ring. So
Yeah.
once the ring came out, and then she was like, "Well, I my." He says that his
Family
family has a
history.
complicated history. So I mean, at that point, I had already known because I already knew what they were casting him for. So I was like, "Oh, I know exactly who he is." So it was cool. That it is cool to have that character, and I mean, they did set this up right for another movie anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. And one of the best things that this movie did was it does set up very much where what's going to happen next, like as far as they go and as far as the Marvel universe. Because when you have such a big event, because the main thing that happens in this is such a big event that it literally affects the Earth. So just when you have that and just having it be at a time that it is now, it totally, and you could hear the references because the Eternals have lived through all of this. So they knew who Thanos was. They knew who Doctor Strange was. It was a funny moment in the beginning of the movie when when oh gosh, when Cersei
Yeah.
is explaining to Cat his character saying, "Hey, like he's like, so are you a wizard?" And she's like, "No." And she's like, "So you're not like Doctor Strange?" And like them knowing, and then also having a conversation about who's going to lead the Avengers now. All of
That
that
I had
stuff
that in
was
my notes
really
too. That
cool.
was
Yeah,
really cool. It's just like, well, now that these two are gone, who's gonna like just them having a normal like conversation? I was like, man,
yeah,
this is so dope. I did like how she explains to him like, oh, what's her? Sprite told that story. Sprite's the one who came up with that story about Icarus not flying too, and he's like,
yeah,
yeah, all the way.
Mhm.
Like, is he?
Yeah. No, I love that. I loved also when he was like, he's like, oh, so yeah, she's in love with him, and then they were like, everyone's like looking shocked, and he was like, oh, so none of y'all picked up
Yeah.
on that. He was so they had a really good relationship. It was really funny. Like,
It was really cool. Yeah.
Droog was also like a cool character. I loved him from the beginning because like, and it makes sense because it's one of those things where you live in a world for so long and you have the power to help and you can't, like, you know what I mean? So them even having that, I love like battles like that because when you have, and that's the goal with strong characters, right? When you have super strong characters, you have to give them some form of weakness that is not physical, right? You have to give them a, a mental or a internal issue so that their character can be weakened. And that's what they did with Thena, which is why her character, because obviously she's the goddess of war. Like, no one is supposed to be able to beat her. That is the goal of the character. Like, you know what I mean? She is war, like combat. She is not supposed to be beatable. But the way that they nerfed that, and forget for the gamers out there, the way that they nerfed that is that you have her have a mental issue so that she is not as strong, or she has a switch anytime she needed to be there. And that was cool. And then her resolving that later on in the episode, I mean not episode, but in the movie was also just great because she's like, I've come to the realization like I can do this, and then she does it. So, and all of her scenes were dope. And
She did a
if
really
you
good
know
job of
me,
playing like crazy though, like that she
well,
was
I mean
losing
it's
it.
Angelina Jolie,
Yeah, no,
so
it
duh.
was just
Okay.
really cool to see. Um, uh, the whole Bollywood scene whenever he
Yeah.
goes up and he's dressed up
Mm-hmm.
as Icarus and they're dancing. I was like, oh, he's making it in Bollywood. Like I'm pretty sure this is like going through, and when he stands on the plane and he's like, oh well, at least them trying to keep themselves hidden. And the way he did it, he's like, well, this is my, like, he has the posters behind him. He's like, this is my great grandfather, my great great grandfather, my great grandfather, my grandfather, my dad, and now it's me. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, this is perfect.
Yeah, he had the whole storyline.
But I was like literally thinking to myself whenever I was watching it, I was like, because in the background posters, I saw something that looked like James Bond. And it looked like he was basically making the Avengers in Bollywood, like basically giving it the Bollywood story. And I thought that was a really small, like funny detail that I was just like, man, this is really cool how he's trying to stay hidden. I give up on looking up that thing. So
It's like I like I said, I'll find it out later on, right when I'm like right when we're ready to end this. I'm gonna be like, oh, I know what it was. But yeah, just that whole scene, all like, and again, throughout the whole movie, I thought it was really enjoyable. I thought the movie did a really good pace. I love what Icarus did, even just being kind of like the villain within that story also, and how they made him like, oh, he always wanted this to happen anyway, but also being sided with because people believed him because he was the strongest, like, you know what I mean, and people siding with him, and then ultimately them coming together to actually do it. And there's a bunch of references in here, like as far as like comic books and stuff. They did a really good job at paying homages to the Eternal comics, which, I love when the MCU movies do that, when they pay homage to the comics and stuff like that. So all overall, I enjoyed the movie. I think it's definitely worth the watch.
yeah.
And
One
then,
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
I was
No, go
gonna
ahead.
say this movie has made me realize that I don't like. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like people that are like Superman. Like I don't like Superman. I'm not a fan of him.
Well,
Right?
that's the thing.
I
Like
think
I
it's just
said,
because he can do everything. But like, just whenever I saw Icarus, I was like, okay, the I beam thing flying around. Okay, sure. Like I just it just annoys me. And then knowing, I mean, you go into Homelander, but Homelander's already a douchebag. You know that's part of the character and everything like that. But I'm just like, man, do I just really have a thing against Superman?
yeah. And also, speaking of Superman, him and Batman were actually mentioned in the movie, which is also the first Marvel movie to mention DC characters.
What? Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
I know the Alfred thing. What was
No,
the
yeah.
Super? What was the
The
Superman
Superman,
thing?
he literally says, "You're Superman, right?" The little
Oh
kid.
yes, the kid. Yeah, yeah.
And then, oh gosh, what's his name? And then, oh god,
Which one?
why am I blinking? Then Fastus
Oh,
goes, "Oh, should I call you Clark now?" Because
yeah.
for Clark Kent. So that they and Star Wars was mentioned also. So we know that DC and Star Wars is this in the MCU. I'm just saying. Listen, open, keep the door open. You know what I mean? Keep the door open for crazy stuff. It might never happen, but you know what? We know they exist in the world. Just saying.
They could just have
We
cameos
just
of the
listen.
characters just walk by
We
like
know it exists in the world, and that's just the first step. That is the first step to the mega crossover, is making sure they exist in the world. So
and then you saying earlier about how this is a separate Marvel film. I honestly do think that. Do you think they're gonna merge into the like how Guardians did? Like Guardians were kind of on the side for a little bit, and then they slowly
No, yeah,
come
they
together? Or
will.
do you think it'll just keep separate and they're like, you see, we'll end up because I'm sure at some point we're gonna see the
There's going to be
uh
an event that
yeah,
needs to happen where they're
they
going
come
to
in.
need one. I don't know if all of them, and that's the key thing about this is, and that's why I liked that we ended up with them kind of like outskirted to all the places because you don't you again when you're dealing with very strong characters, you have to make them have some form of a weakness somehow, right? So the
Yeah.
Eternals, I mean, are very difficult to kill unless they do, you know, do something to themselves, or if they're like, something has to happen in order for them to die. So when you have strong characters like that, it's better to have like maybe one or two. Like I don't think we'll see them together to handle a Marvel issue unless it's something like Galactus, like you know what I mean, where we have to fight this major dude that all of us like. I need your help,
Which we
like
got another tease of it, man. They keep showing
exactly.
it. They keep showing
They
different
keep showing
teases.
it. Just a little bit here, a little bit there. That's what you need to do. You just need to give us a little tease here.
Yeah.
And then, but that's a character that, they could fight
Yeah.
that would make sense for the Eternals to show up.
But I'm hoping
And
that very soon we do see in the background, or if they fly, that we do see we have to see the celestial, like the marble. Like we have to see it in the ocean. Like at some point, the
yeah.
Avengers are gonna pass by.
No, but it's on the news.
Yeah,
Like they
exactly.
know.
I know
It
we saw
showed
it on
up
the
on the
news, but I
news.
want to
Yeah.
see. I want to see
Yeah.
like, oh, there it is in the background, or like they're on
Yeah.
the mountain, and they're like, what is this? And then they zoom
Yeah.
out, and you just, oh. But
Yeah.
my other question was the only problem I had with was maybe you can explain to me the whole Icarus thing, him flying into the sun.
sun.
I get it, the symbolism, but
Mhm.
why did he go?
Well,
He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I know nobody's gonna forgive him. He did some crazy crap. So I thought they were
that's
going to
what
capture him, or I thought they were going to do something to him. But at
Yeah,
some
but
point, I guess
Icarus's
he,
story is based. I mean, with Icarus, he couldn't live with the fact that he also tried to hurt the person that he loved,
yeah,
right? So even through all that and realizing that maybe even at the end when he helps join them and helps become the Unimind and all that, even with all that, he knew that he couldn't live knowing that he almost tried to kill the person that he loved.
okay,
So not only did he love her, but it's also like he just fought his family,
yeah,
the only family he ever knew, and it was just like, can I live with that regret?
and been lying to him too for,
And been lying and knowing and having to deal with that guilt, or I can do this. Like, and I think that's what. And then obviously, it symbolizes Icarus flying too close
yeah,
to the sun. So it was a cool little thing, and that's why I said, you like when you have someone that strong, you have to give them some type of an issue that is not physical, right? Like all of, like it wasn't that Icarus was beaten or bested or whatever. It was just he couldn't handle like a real life situation, and I think that's a good way for making those strong characters have to deal with some form of regret or something like that. So I thought they did a really good job with that. All right. And then, and then we had our end credit scenes, which, we had our end credit scenes and the rumors were all true. We have,
I didn't see any. I went into this movie blind, to be
yeah,
honest. I don't
the,
know anything about it. I just went
well,
in.
a lot of people, so I didn't see this, but I knew this was like, I knew it was a rumor early, like last year. And last week when the movie premiered, it kind of like, Harry Styles was trending. And I was like, okay, so the rumors are true. Like, that's the only thing I knew because they were like, I literally saw my Twitter that was like, Eternals premiere. And then the next thing was Harry Styles. And I was like, you know what? I'm not like I've already knew the rumors were there. So we have Harry Styles playing Star Fox, better known as Eros of Titans, which is Thanos' brother. So this is a very interesting. I mean, the casting I love. I think it's great that you found a way to introduce Harry Styles into the
Oh,
Marvel
so
universe.
good. I was so happy to see him. I was like, yeah, this is cool.
And I love that they made him have like an entrance with Pip. So Pip is.
I will say he did look a little rough in that. I give it to him. It was like an end credit scene, but I was just like the way he looked. I was like, yikes.
Well, I mean, they're gonna fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of things. Listen, you remember how Thanos looked?
Yeah,
in Event. So listen, there's a lot of people Because if you, and that's a lot of things that people forget. Like if you remember how Thanos looked at the like in Guardians compared to how he looked once we got to to Infinity War,
Yeah.
completely different character. Like completely different. So that doesn't bother me. But I thought it was cool that we're going to get, and no matter what, and this is what I like, no matter how far, like even though Thanos is gone, we're still going to be getting little pieces of him because he's affected the world in such a big way that you are going to know his brother now. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And like I just think it's so cool that even in death and them fighting two different versions of him, because that's what happened. Like you still have to deal with Thanos. Like there's still, Thanos is just this big entity that everyone knows. So
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. And obviously them having to go look for, they were going to look for more Eternals, and now they have to go find their family because they got sucked up. So, which that scene was also dope, by the way, when he just like showed up and she's like looking at him, and then it's like they all just go to space, and I was like,
Seeing
oh,
it compared to
okay,
the world,
like,
I was like, that's what I
yeah,
was saying. Like, here's another freaking Galactus thing. It looks
yeah,
really cool. It's not
mhm,
animated and it's big.
yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Um,
So, but yeah, man, it was nuts to see. I also wanted to say something about uh the Deviants. Looked crazy. Those things were really
yeah,
cool. Shout out to the Deviants because we didn't say
especially
anything.
when the one got was starting to grow, and you know who voiced him, right?
Mm-mm.
Bill Skarsgård voiced
Really?
the alpha one. That was him. He's
And
just a talented individual.
yeah,
That's
there was
what
a guy
he is.
named the guy who does Aramis,
Hmm.
Dan, whatever. I didn't know he
Yeah.
did. He just done a lot. I just looked up his
No.
profile,
Mhm. A
and
lot of voice actors. That's what they once
yeah,
they get like voice actors have like multiple. Once you start falling into their thing, you're like, dang, they did like 20 characters. So once you start getting in their IMDb, so that was dope, and I love that they're adding him. And now you set up the movie for Eternals 2 is to go look for them, or like who knows what can happen, right? Because you have this whole thing going on with the multiverse, and the whole like we have a lot to look forward to because we are literally at the moment where anything can happen. Like just prepare for crazy stuff. We've got Spider-Man next. Like Spider-Man comes out in a month, y'all. Like Spider-Man is in a month, and who knows what's about to happen. Like that's gonna blow the roof, and then they're gonna give us a much needed break because I don't know if you guys know, all of them got pushed back, and I feel like it's for the better because there's a lot about to just show up. I didn't even talk about the second end credit scene where we finally find out who Jon Snow's character is, which is Black Knight, because he has the Ebon
hmm,
Curse blade.
hmm.
And we hear a voice, okay? There's a voice that says, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Now, we don't have any confirmation on who it is,
It's not Nick
okay?
Fury, is it? I thought it was that Nick Fury.
N- mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
It didn't sound like him.
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no,
okay,
no, no, no. That is not my theory, okay? It doesn't make sense for Nick Fury to be there, right?
okay. Would it make sense for that
Because,
other team that Valerie?
listen,
Go ahead.
who knows? I don't care. This is my theory, okay? I said it as soon as I freaked out in the movie theater because I think it's Blade. Okay. And it would make sense why it's Blade. And I'll give you the rundown why I think it's Blade. Because we didn't see his face
Mm-hmm.
is one of the biggest reasons. Because if it was Nick Fury, why wouldn't you show us
Yeah,
Nick
why wouldn't you
Fury?
show it?
We
Yeah,
already
yeah,
know
yeah.
it's Nick
Okay.
Fury. Okay. If it was anybody else that we've already seen, why wouldn't you show it to us? Right. The other reason why I can say that I think it's Blade is because there's only, besides the Eternals, there's only one other person who would have lived that long to know what that blade is. And his name is Blade.
Blade.
Okay. So that's the only thing that I can think of. Because, and I know there's some people out there saying the Beyonder, and the only reason, and the Watcher, and the only reason why I push back on that is because the Watcher, we already realize he cannot interfere. So for him to say, "Are you sure you want to do that?" wouldn't make any sense. The only person that would make sense, because they know that it would take that person to a place is Blade. I mean, I'm sure they could find someone else, but make it Blade, please, please make it Blade. It has to be Blade. They reference vampires in the show. I mean, in the movie when she's like, "Well, people try to stab me with a stake." It's got to be Blade. It's Blade. It's Blade.
Who did they say who's playing Blade for the new movie?
Yes, Mashallah Ali is playing Blade.
Oh shoot.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know anything
So,
about it right now, so I'm like,
oh. Listen, Blade. Look, I mean, my pop is back there, but listen, I'm ready. Okay, I don't know if everyone else is, but me, I'm ready. I'm ready for the new Blade movie. So that's who I think it is. That's my theory. Let's see if I'm right. We'll find out. I don't know when because I don't feel like Marvel's ever going to tell us until we see Black Knight again. So
tell you
who
what,
knows, right?
if Alan is right, all right, Marvel, because we know you're watching. You're always watching us. All right, you give us premiere tickets to the next big like Avengers film.
All of them.
Okay, all of them. Okay,
All
he
of
said
them.
it. All of them. If he is right. Okay, so we'll see. We'll come back.
I'm just saying, it just makes
2-3
sense
years
to
from
me
now, and we'll see.
to not show his face to get people a little bit hyped. I know a lot of people haven't even thought of that. I know my friend Chase, shout out to Chase, also thought the same thing. And that's who I mean, I feel like that's who it has to be.
It says filming starts in July, so
exactly. Listen, it's just, to me, it makes sense. I'm sure there's ways to push back from that, but why wouldn't you show his face?
they're
Like, if it's a
rewriting as we
character
speak.
know-
They're like, God
like, you know
dang
what I mean?
it.
Like, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you show us a character's face if you just have him say it? And if you have him say something like that, we can all be like, oh my God, who is it? And I love those. So, not that I'm saying it has to be Blade. I just really hope it's Blade. So, but yeah. All right. But we're going to end it the same way we always end it. Chris, what was your favorite moments?
I've been waiting to say it, man. When Gilgamesh was, what's the safe haven?
Which one?
The first one with the blue walls. No.
Babylon?
Babylon.
Okay.
What's Bangladesh? What's Bangladesh? Why do I have that in my mind?
Bangladesh is a place.
It is a place. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I was like, why? Yeah, Babylon. So whenever the Eternal, like they're showing that, and the Eternal, like he has it up against the door, and it goes up, and he literally open palms just smack,
Oh.
just like
Yeah.
best thing
It's-
ever.
I
loved it.
love how they showed his strength. Like, I loved how they showed the strength. And Don Lee was perfect for that role. Like,
also
with him,
go ahead. Keep finishing.
with him doing the cooking the pie thing and then getting the sad moment, like, and then him making the beer. And again, his relationship with Thino, just, I don't know, it made me happy. The whole movie, I felt that love. Like, you know what I mean? It was here. I felt that love, their love, more than I felt Cersei's and Icarus's. Like, their love was like deep, and I felt like it was rooted there. And they didn't even have as much screen time. I feel like they did a really good job with what they had, and we knew exactly what they were. So
I was gonna say, on top of the Justice League thing, I got strong Umbrella Academy vibes too. Like them whenever after Ajax passed and they're trying to get the team together, like that moment,
yeah,
I felt very Umbrella Academy. But anyway, what is your favorite part?
For me, it was McCurry, because, like I said, I wanted that to be the Flash so bad. Like, just everything she did was just amazing. And she, mind you, she didn't even talk in the movie. Like, which is why I enjoyed the character so much. I just thought, like, if you can express yourself, and I know, we had the sign language, but like, if you can express yourself in that, like, just being able to talk that way and still not actually being able to speak, and I like feel like I remember that character. Like, I just want her fight with Icarus was just perfection. It was legit. Like, she was literally just dragging him like through mountain. Like, bro, she was perfect. And then my other one was, like I said, Gilgamesh and Thena. The whole any scene they were in, I was for it, because just Angelina Jolie, their fight scenes were great. Like the first fight scene they did where she's literally like running with a deviant, like to stab it. Like, that was the goddess of war. Like, and it's crazy because, like, I don't even want to really compare it, but it's just like, that's also what I want my Wonder Woman to be. Like, that's how I wanted Wonder Woman. Like everything that was just like that's how I wanted those characters to be. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think people definitely go check it out. Don't listen to all the critics. Make your own judgment. If you like it, let us know in the comments. If you hated it, let us know in the comments. We
Does it
want to
move up
know
on your list for Marvel movies this year?
which
For what do we
that's a
got?
good
Like, what do
listen. Now you know what? Now that we're gonna have some time off of Marvel movies after Spider-Man, we have to make a ranking video.
I think, but I personally think, depending on Spider-Man, I feel like Spider-Man cannot be in the list. He has to
Yes,
be.
it has to be. Spider-Man has to be on the list because it's look, the next movie we're gonna get is not until May. So we'll have a good amount of time to make a list. And you listen, it's gonna be tough, but you gotta make it.
It's like putting like you put an all-star team on a dodgeball. It's like versing the Hulk in dodgeball. Like
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Chris.
All right.
Get it ready.
All right.
Put it in the comments.
We also got
tell Chris he needs to get that list ready.
We got Hawkeye coming up too. That's
Hawkeye's coming up at the end of the month.
Or then 2 weeks.
End of the month. It's
3 weeks. Oh, it's the beginning of November. God dang it.
It's not it's only the 5th, okay? And shout out to 5th of November. Remember the
Yeah, I might go watch that movie. It's 3 hours long though, isn't it?
No, it's not that long. It's 2 hours and 37 minutes. Who's counting? It's one of my favorite movies, V for Netta. Please go check it out if you haven't seen it. But that's it for us, guys. Thank you for all your support that you give us. Make sure you tell a friend, sub so we can hit 100, so we can give you guys this mouse. Let us give you stuff. Just remember, every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, we have our live show where we are joined by Yendi, who's not here today. And we're going to try to get some more debriefs out there before thing. I did finish Squid Games, so we do need to do a Squid Game one. And we still haven't done Dune. But Chris's schedule is going to change, so we're going to have a lot to work out. But we will get those videos out for you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. That is it for LPF Debrief. Until the next time, Fire Team out.